Make it messy, make it yours, clip it, make it, sell it, of course. You've got this, open doors, creativity shines, that's yours.
Today we're going to make some 2" by 3" gift tags. Now we're going to use my winter rainbow clip art set, which is available inside my membership. And we're also going to use this template right here, which is inside my mini store starter kit, and I'll link everything below. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, depending how many pages are already here, you might want to duplicate it. So if you want to duplicate it, you're just going to click on it and you're going to hit Control D, or you can go here and duplicate page. Okay, now I only want to make 3 today, so I'm just going to get rid of one of those. And then I'll show you at the end how to use this. Okay, so let's make a winter tag. Put this rainbow on there, and I like this here. So with this, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to place it behind the rainbow. So we're going to just go layer, send it back. And then I don't like how this blue is showing through here, but you can actually chop images off just by moving the top and bottom and sides in or down. So now you can't see it, so that's great. Okay, and let's go ahead and put some snowflakes in the corners. I think I want to make them kind of small. Okay, so now I'm going to copy that element. So Control C, Control V. And I'm going to put it here, and here, and here. Okay, so here's where you can have a bit of fun. You can go ahead and you can turn it, you can resize it, because the corners do not have to be the same as each other. Though I am going to try to keep the space that the corners take up about the same. Okay. All right, maybe move that up just a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is probably make this a little smaller. Let's zoom back in, so we can do that by moving our bar down here. Okay, make it take up the whole page. Now I want to pick a color for the background, but because these are also light, I'm going to have to pick something dark. So let's go into the color picker here, and let's go dark. Okay, I really actually kind of like this dark blue. I like it. I think it needs to be a little bit, not more purple. Okay, kind of like that color. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to put some text on here, but I can see that, for one thing, this here is a little too bright, so let's take the transparency down a bit. And I'm just going to move it over a little bit. Now I'm just bringing the sides in so that when I put these together and group them, and then I center it on the page, it will actually be centered. So I'm just grouping them now, Control G. Now this here is optional. You could remove that if you want. That's where they're going to punch a hole in the tag after they print it out, but you could just leave that there, or you can delete it. It's up to you. All right, let's get some text in there. Move that down, and warm winter. Now, we can't see that because it's black. So let's go ahead and change the color of that. And I made a typo. Okay, now I think I want warm on one line, winter wishes on the other. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put that down there. And I'm going to make it a bit bigger, but we're going to have to play with it because we're going to change the font. Okay, so let's go here and let's just look at fonts. And let's try that one there. All right, scroll down, see what we can find. I think I like that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and make that bigger. And I'll make this a bit smaller because we have to keep in mind that this whole tag is only 2 inches by 3 inches, so 2 inches wide by 3 inches high. All right, so let's just play with this text a bit and see where we want it to be. I think that's pretty good. So the idea with this tag is that they would print this out and then they would use it as a gift tag, punch the hole out, and they could write their, to and from on the back if that's what they wanted to do. So let's just go ahead and do a few things here. So I'm going to ungroup them because I want to play with the rainbow first. So I'm going to edit and shadows, and I just want to see what each of these does. So that just, okay, well, first of all, we're going to have to change the color here to like white or light gray, just so we can see. I just want it to pop out from the page a bit. Next, we're going to work on these stars here. So let's go ahead and choose that. And I still think they need to come down a bit in transparency. And let's go here and let's put a glow effect on this. And of course, again, we're going to have to change this to a lighter color because otherwise it's not going to show. Right, and we can play with the size, but I want them to look like they're shining in the dark night sky. Okay. Now, I tried bolding that didn't really change it, but let's play with the line spacing because once again, I feel like it was just a little bit too far away from each other. And I think that looks great. So let's leave that as our first tag and let's move on to the second. Okay, so let's go here to our clip art and I'm going to just pick a few elements here and we're going to play with them. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. I'm going to put that in the center. I want it to kind of be my centerpiece. And I don't want the little stick on it showing, so I'm just going to do that. And I think I'm going to make this a bit smaller. Now, I want to turn this. So the idea is that the pine cone is going to be the centerpiece and of the image. And I'm going to just copy this again, Control C, Control V, and then just playing with the angle. And I'm just going to go to the position and move the pine cone up top again because it's really hard to tell what you're doing when it's, oh. Okay, so let's just play with this one a bit. And okay, and then the bottom one, I want to just move it down a bit. I don't want so much of that stem to show. And I want to turn it, I think, a little bit more this way. Okay, so now I'm going to copy it again. And let's make it so there's one sticking out the top here. And then we will have maybe a slightly smaller one. I'm going to have to fix where these layers are. So let's go ahead and position that up top. And just want to take this one and turn it so it's more straight. And on this one, I feel like that last leaf interferes too much, so you can actually just, let's come and chop it off a little bit. Okay, and then let's copy this one. So Control C, Control V, and then I'm going to flip it horizontally and turn it and put it here on the other side. And we'll just move this up again and let's go ahead and copy the main one again. So Control C, Control V, and flip it this way. And we'll Control V again, and we're going to flip this one, of course. And I'm going to take this bottom one, move it a bit, and then we'll use the position to grab this one and move it out a bit as well. Okay, so let's move that pine cone back up top again. I want to make sure that the pine cone is centered, so let's check it out, and it is not. Okay, so that means I'm going to move this top one here so that it's a little more centered. It doesn't have to be perfect, we're just looking to make an arrangement here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to make it bigger so that everything kind of comes off the page. And then we can just move it down a bit because I don't want to show that stem. And I'm going to go ahead and group all those together. Now we're going to choose a background color. So let's just go here and let's have a look and see what's available already in the palette. And actually, I really like that one. That's pretty good. So let's go ahead here and I'm going to go here and I'm going to ungroup this. So Control Shift G. And I want to choose the pine cone. And I just want to maybe give that a bit of a shadow or a glow. I think it just needs something so it sticks out a little bit, but not too much. I think it needs to be a little more subtle, so we'll change it from black. And I'm going to just make that bigger and fit the screen again, because it's definitely a lot easier to see what you're doing then. And let's move to position. I want to grab this bottom one here. So let's see. I just feel like there's too much white space and I think I'm actually going to go to my pine cone and make it a little bigger because it is the centerpiece. And this one here, I feel like should go just down just a bit so it's not so big. Okay, so let's center that pine cone again. I'm actually going to just select everything, group it, and center it on the page. Okay. All right, now let's put some text on this. And so we're just going to hit text here and add a text box. And let's do something different this time. So let's go in here and pick a font first. And let's increase the size of that. And now let's go into effects. Now I will be making it bigger, but let's just do this first. So here we go. So let's round it. Okay, so let's type our message first because otherwise it's just going to, so it's kind of showing you where it's putting it on the screen. But I'm going to make that bigger and I'm going to, if I click off of it, it will change it like that. Now I think that that's too stark of a color contrast. So I'm going to go over here and let's just see what we've got. I kind of like that. I think I'm going to need to put like a shadow or something on it, but I kind of like that. So let's go ahead and just going to use the menu here to center it. Sometimes that's easier. Okay, and let's put an effect on it and let's see. I'm thinking a shadow, but I think I want it to be even lighter. So let's see what happens when we put a white shadow on it. It does make it stand out more, but I do want the offset to be a little bit less because I feel like it's too much. Okay. All right. And then if you're going to keep this circle on there, then it should be a guide for your customer to punch their hole. So let's just go ahead and make it a darker color. It doesn't have to be really dark. It just has to be dark enough that it can work for them to be able to see it. And I mean, you could leave it black. That is positioned and made a little bit smaller. That is positioned and made a little bit smaller than a typical hole punch would be. I think I'm going to actually choose that color, same as the background, and just darken it up and kind of try to keep it in that same color palette. Okay. All right, let's make one more tag. Okay, so for this last tag, let's go get some clip art, and I'm going to use just my snowflakes. And the first thing I'm going to do right now is pick my background color because I want to make them stand out. So let's just go ahead and do that. I like that, but I think a little bit lighter. So let's just go here and all right. Let's do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill the canvas with these. So let's just go ahead, and it's okay if it goes over the hole because they're going to punch it out, or you're going to give them the version without, or you're going to give them both so they can decide for themselves what they want to print. And then I'm just going to go and start putting more on, and I'm just going to rotate them so that they don't look exactly the same. And with this one, I'm just going to bring it off the corner here. Okay, and then Control V to paste again. And then like this, and then I'm intentionally not putting things on top of each other. So just trying to fill in all those spaces, and remember, it's okay if it cuts off. So we're just going to go here, and I feel like here, let's flip this one horizontally, and let's just do this, and let's bring it in. Okay, and we're just going to keep doing this to fill all the space. And I'm actually going to turn that one first. Okay, and let's see if this is our last one. This one can probably be our last one. However, we do have some blank spaces here, so let's fill them in, and I'm going to show you what we can do. So we're just going to press Control V again. Now, it's kind of hard to see when it's on there, but let's isolate this circle at the bottom. So I'm just going to bring the top down and bring the side over and bring the side over. Okay, so now we've got this circle here, and it matches the other circles. So I'm just going to kind of go and fill some things in. So I'm going to Control C on that and Control V. And I'm just going to move them around, and we also can change the size of them. Okay, just to fill some of these spots in that are kind of in the middle of where our images are. You can also make some a little bigger. So I'm going to copy that bigger one, put one here, and one here. And I actually feel like here, maybe we can copy this again. And let's just bring a snowflake in on the side here. And I think that's actually, you know, pretty good. We don't need to have every little space filled. We could put something here. So let's just copy this again one more time and just kind of fill that space in. Okay, so I really actually only want this to be a background. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to unselect the little circle. All right, I'm going to go here then, and I'm going to unselect the circle. Okay, we're just going to select all these again, and I'm just going to group all of it together. Okay, now the circle should be on top, but I want to use this as a background. So once again, I'm going to just kind of make this very transparent. Okay, so now we need to put some text on here. So let's add a text box, and I'm going to make it Merry Christmas. Okay, and let's change this font size, and let's go ahead and change the font. Let's try this one. That one looks actually pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to resize it, and then I will bring it to the middle. All right, let's make this just a little bit bigger. Okay, all right, now let's put this in the center. So I'm just going to drag it around until it hits that center point, and then that one is done. All right, so what we're going to do next is put it into this template so that it's ready for your customer and it's all on one page. So we're going to give them 3 of each tag. So that's going to be in the next video. So remember, progress is better than perfection every single time. See you next time.
Make it messy, make it yours, clip it, make it